بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Dear students of Communications and Public Relations Management course, today inshallah we will continue chapter number 5, which is titled by Management. We start with this chapter in the previous lecture, and we start to talk about the Chief Executive Officer and the public relation practitioners, and we said that there is something in common between each of them. After that, we start to talk about the managerial function of this department, the public relation department. So let's start from slide 16, conceptualizing the public relations plan. Strategic planning for public relations is an essential part of management. So as a manager, you have to be able to set a strategic goal for your department and the strategic plans in order to achieve those strategic goals and to manage your own resources within your department. Okay, so again, strategic planning for this department, for public relations department, is an essential part of management. So the manager of public relations department should be able to set his own strategic goals and strategic plans in order to manage their resources. Planning is critical not only to know where a particular campaign is headed, but also to win the support of top management. So for sure, our campaigns, which is published by public relation practitioners or public relation departments, is headed for specific public, but the planning also is very important to support top management. Okay, so planning is critical not only to know where a particular campaign is headed, but also to win the support of top management. في النهاية احنا الكامبينز for sure لازم يصير لها planning، لازم تكون في عملية تخطيط كما تحدثنا مسبقا، ولكن بقول لي البلانينج مهمة بالنسبة للكامبينز اللي عادة بتكون يعني مخططة لتوجيه برسالة معينة إلى audience معين، ولكن أيضا البلانينج it is very important to win the support of top management، لأنه في النهاية your top management will evaluate your performance according to standards, according to your plans. فبالتالي لازم يكون في عندي plans in order to win the support of top management. With the proper planning, public relations practitioners can defend and account for their actions. So if you wanted to defend your actions, you should have your own plan. Okay, and for sure you will be accountable for what you do, or you are accountable for the plan which is sitting by you. So your manager can evaluate your performance based on these plans which you are accountable to achieve it. Okay, فبالتالي نقول لي انه عشان انت تدافع عن الاكشنز اللي بتقوم فيها، يفترض انه يكون في عندك basics، يفترض يكون في عندك standards تمشي عليها، يفترض يكون في عندك your own plan اللي بناء عليها طبعا انت مسائل عن اي خطوة بناء عليها، فبالتالي your manager can evaluate your performance based on this plan. Continue talking about conceptualizing the public relation plan. Before organizing for public relations work, practitioners must consider objectives and strategies, planning and budgets, research and evaluation. So before organizing the public relation work, before you make the organizational process or organizing process, which means to develop your organizational chart in this department, represent who report to whom, assign different tasks for specific persons, and organize your resources, you have to consider the following. You have to set your objectives, strategies, planning, budgets, conduct different researches, and to evaluate or to determine the methods that will be used to evaluate your performance. The broad environment in which the organization operates must dictate the overall business objectives. So before we start setting or identifying our objectives, we have to understand from where we bring this objective, which is of course from, or it is coming from, our environment. So the environment dictates us to put specific objectives, because we are not working as an isolation organization, or we are not isolated from our environment. Okay, so again, before the organizing a process, we have to make planning a process. We have to make into consideration something such as objectives, setting objectives, strategies, the planning, budgets, research and evaluation, and also the broad environment in which the organization operates must dictate the overall business objectives. The overall business objectives, not the public relation objectives. For sure, the public relation department objectives, it is derived from the overall business objective, which is derived from the environment, which is considered a part. As an organization, we are a part of this environment. Management model for public relations planning. As we said before, here we have the environment. So as an organization, we have to study our environment, the factors within the environment which is affect, of course, our organization, such as the cultural factors, the economical, geographic, demographic, and so on, in order to setting our overall objectives. Okay, so the first step, we have to studying the environment and all factors which just affect our organization, or in another word, we have to analyze our environment, maybe using different tools such as the SWOT analysis. After that, we have to set our overall objective, our organizational objectives. Okay, after that, from this objective we derived the public relation objectives and strategies. So public relation sub goals, our sub objectives, our objectives derived from the organizational, our overall organizational objectives. Okay, after we set our sub goals as a public relation department, we have to put a public relation programs. We have to set public relation programs to be implemented. Okay, so again, here the planning process for public relation departments. First of all, we have to study our environment, analyzing our environment. After that, we have to set the overall objective of the organization, or the organizational objective, which is stem from the environment. And after that, we have to derive the sub goal أو اللي هي public relation objectives from the business objective. Then we have to set our own program as a public relation department in order to be implemented. Conceptualizing the public relations plan. Setting objectives, formulating strategies, and the planning are essential if the public relations function is to be considered equal in stature to other management process. Okay, so like any other department or any other unit within the organization, public relations departments have to set its own objectives, its own strategies, which is needed to achieve those strategies. So again, setting objectives, formulating strategies, and the planning are essential in the public relations function to be considered equal to other management processes or to the other departments within the organization, like the human resource department, the financial departments. Also the public relation departments have its own objectives and strategies which is needed to achieve those objectives. Traditionally, the public relations management process involves 4 main steps. So the 4 steps process of public relation management. First of all, we have to define the problem or the issue or an opportunity. The second step, programming. After that, we have to take an action, and finally the evaluation process. So those are the 4 steps of public relation management. First of all, we have to define our issue, program, action. After that, we have to evaluate our performance. So in more details, the 4-step process of public relation management. First of all, we have to define the problem or the opportunity or the issue. This requires researching current attitudes and opinion about the issue or product, candidate or company, any question, and determining the essence of the problem. So in order to determine the essence or the core of the problem or the issue, first you have to conduct researches to diagnose the problem that we are going to solve it. Okay, so again, this requires researching. Okay, so you have to conduct different researches in order to put the public in the essence or the core of the problem or an issue. Researching maybe on current attitudes, هي audience attitudes, or opinions about an issue, product, candidates. Once we talk about politics, here we talk about the candidates, about or the company, and a question, and determining the essence of the problem. So again, in order to determine the essence or the core of the issue, first of all, you have to conduct different researches, whether in current attitudes, opinions, the company, the product, candidate, okay, in order to determine the essence of the problem or to diagnose the problem that we are going to solve it. The second step, programming. This is the formal planning stage, which addressed a key constituent public's strategies, tactics, and goals. Okay, so you have to understand your publics. As a public relation department, we have to understand our publics, whether they are women, men, youth, okay, and so on. Then we have to set our strategies, tactics, and operational goals. Okay, and a programming step. This is a formal planning stage. We address the key constituent publics. We have to determine our key publics. After that, we have to put overall strategies in general. Okay, after that, we have to set our tactics and the operational goals. The third step, action. This is the communication phase, as we said before, when the program is implemented. This is an implementation phase or the communication phase اللي هي الأكشن، وأخذنا فصل كامل، فصل رقم 3 عن الcommunication. The fourth step is evaluation. The final process in the public relation management process is the assessment or the evaluation of what worked, what didn't, and how to improve in the future. So finally, we have to evaluate our achievement, our performance, whether we achieve our objectives, which is setting before or not, and how we are going to improve it or solve it. Okay, so again, here we have the 4 stages or the 4 steps of public relation management. Defining the problem. We have to define our problem, and before we define it, we have to conduct different researches about the company, about the product, about the candidate, according to the issue you have. After that, we have to make a program, and this is the formal planning stage of public relation management. You have to assign your audience, your publics. After that, you have to set your strategies, tactics, and the operational goals. Then the communication phase or the implementation phase, and finally we have to evaluate our performance. Each of these 4 process steps is important. لكن the most essential is starting with a firm base of research. You have to conduct research in order to assign the problem, okay, and solid foundation of planning. Here we have a note. All planning requires thinking, planning a short-term public relations program to promote a new service may require less thought and time than planning long-term campaign to win support for public policy issue. So we have to start thinking before planning. We have to ask ourselves how, why, and where in order to put our plans. احنا ما بنضع الخطة مباشرة. We have to think before we are putting our plans. Okay. After that, really a short-term public relations program to promote a new service may require less thought and time than planning long-term campaign to win a support for public policy issue. So in a long-term plans, for example, changing public attitude or changing a specific policy, you have to exert more effort, okay, in order to win the support of publics for specific issue. While in order to promote a new service, we are not needed a long-term plan or long-term plans. We can rely only on short-term plans, which requires less thought and time or effort. ليه؟ لأنه عشان أعمل عملية promoting for a new service، من اسمها new service هي جديدة، فبالتالي بعد فترة ستصبح قديمة، فإحنا مش محتاجين إنه إحنا نضع long term program or long term plans. okay. فما في داعي انها تكون الاهداف عندي هنا طويلة الاجل. لكن اذا احنا بنحكي على changing attitude or policy، هذه ممكن تاخذ مني طبعا وقت و efforts عالية، فبالتالي it is a long term plans. Creating the public relations plans. The public relations plan must be spelled out in writing. So plans should be written, not to be just in your mind. It should be written. Its organization must answer management concerns and the questions about the campaign being recommended. So the organization of our plans، عملية التنظيم لهذه الخطة، it should answer the management concerns and the questions about the campaign. مين الأودينس اللي احنا عايزين يعني نرسل لهم هذه الرسالة، مين هم ال priorities أو خلينا نحكي the most important audience، مين الأقل أهمية، إيش نوع الرسالة، كيفية التواصل معهم and so on. Here is one way it might be organized and what it should answer. So the organization of your plan, it should include the following. عملية التنظيم للخطة تبعتك المفروض انها الخطة عادة public relation plan it should include the following: executive summary ملخص بسيط, communication process, background, situation analysis, message statement, audiences, key audience message, implementation, budget monitoring, and evaluation. So now we want to talk about each of them in details. The first one is executive summary. Executive summary, it is an overview of the plan. نعمل زي ملخص بسيط عن اللي هي الخطة اللي بدنا نقوم بوضعها. Communication process, how it works for understanding and training purposes. And here we have communication chapter كامل, chapter number 3 حكينا عنه بتفصيل كامل عن ال communication process. The background, you have to put your mission statement, the vision, values, events that lead to the need for the plan. Number 4, situation analysis, major issues and related facts the plan will deal with. So the situational analysis, it means you have to define or identify your issues or the major issues or the problem, and related facts the plan will deal with. Message statement, the plan's major idea or ideas and emerging themes, all of which look to. This is a message statements. في اللي هي الرسالة نفسها يفترض انه احنا يعني نلقي الضوء بشكل مكثف على اللي هي الافكار الرئيسية اللي احنا حابين نوصلها for the audience about this problem, all of which look to the expected outcome. Number 6, the audiences. You have to determine your publics or the audience, strategic constituencies related to the issue, listed in order of importance, with whom you wish to develop and maintain relationships. يفترض أن يكون في عنا ترتيب لهم حسب الأهمية ونوجه لهم الرسالة المناسبة. Key audience messages, maybe it is include 1 or 2 messages that you want to be understood by each key audience. Number 8, this is the implementation phase or the implementation process. Once you determine your issues or the problem and the audiences that you will send a message for them, and the messages or the key messages which is used to be published for your audience, the media which is used to send the messages for specific audiences, when it will be started and when it will be finished, the cost needed for the implementation of this program, the expected outcome from this program, and the method of evaluation. This is the main content of implementation phase. Number 9, the budget. It is the plan's overall budget presented in an organization's accepted style. And finally, the monitoring and evaluation phase. How the plan's result will be measured and evaluated against the standards which is setting before or the previously set benchmark or desired outcome. So in this step you have to ensure that you are perform or achieve your objectives or the strategies that you set in before, or the desired outcome which is needed. This is an example for the public relation plans. You can read it by yourself. And here we have a note. The beauty of creating a plan like this is that it clearly specifies tactics against which objectives can be measured and evaluated. In devising the public relations plan along these lines, an organization is assured that its public relations program will reinforce and complement its overall business goals. So public relation programs أو public relations objectives هي يعني تعتبر جزء حيوصلني للoverall اللي هي business goals, because we said before that the public relation objectives and the strategies it is a stem or derived from the overall business goals. فبالتالي it will help us to achieve the overall business goals. Activating the public relations campaigns. So once we talk about action, we talk about the campaign that we are going to implement it. Based on your public relations plans, it is the time to take an action. So first of all, you have to backgrounding the problem, preparing the proposal, implementing the plan, and finally evaluating the campaign. The first step, you have to backgrounding the problem. Backgrounding the problem, it means you have to conduct a research about the problem, and this background, it should contain several components such as a history about the problem, the causes, the obstacles faced in order to solve this problem, and you have to write the importance of your issue or your problem in order to attract the reader. After that, you have to prepare the proposal, implement the plan, and finally evaluating the campaign. Here we have a note. Although planning is important step, public relations is still assessed in terms of action, performance, and the practices. So the top level of management looking always for actions, achieving objectives, achieving high performance. Okay, يعني الفكرة مش انه نضع فقط you have to set a plan. اي department اي شخص ممكن يحط plans وتكون plans يعني جدا طموحة وجدا وصولية، ولكن يعني في النهاية المانجمنت أو التوب ليفل of management looking for actions achieving high performance for the objectives. أنا مش عايزة خطة، أنا عايزة تنفيذ، أنا عايزة يكون في عندي أهداف تم تحقيقها. طيب, now we wanted to talk about those components in more details, backgrounding the problem. This is also called situation analysis. Okay, it means analyzing the issue or the situation or the problem, represent the importance of this issue. Background, or sometimes we call it a case statement, that specifies the major aim or the importance of the campaign. It can be general statement that refer to audiences, non-research, the organization's positions, history, and the obstacles faced in reaching the desired goals. So the main components maybe for background or the case statement, writing a history about the problem, the causes, the obstacles which is faced in reaching or solving this problem. The second one, preparing the proposal. The second stage of the campaign plan sketches broad approaches to solve the problem at hand. So at this stage you have to determine the main solution for this problem. Okay, so again the second stage of the campaign plan sketches broad approaches to solve the problem. Yeah, different methods and approaches or systems, okay, in order to solve the problem. The elements of public relations proposal may vary depending on subject matter, but generally include the following. So the proposals may differ according to the issue or the problem which is identified, but in general all of the proposals include the following: situation analysis. It means a description of the challenges as it currently exists, including background on how the situation reached its present state. Okay, so again the proposal may be differ according to the issue or the problems that we concerned with, but all of the proposals include the following components. First of all, it should include situation analysis. It is a description of the challenges as it currently exists, including background on how situation reach its present state. فبالتالي يفترض أنه نحكي على في situation analysis about the problem nowadays and the current problem and how it reach this matter or يعني how it is reached. فهنحكي على الهيستوري تبعها منذ بدء نشوءها إلى ما وصلت إلى الوقت الحالي. كمان ممكن نحكي على ال causes of the problem, whether economical, legal, political causes or whatever. Also, the proposal includes the scope of the assignment, description of the nature of the assignment, what the public relations program will attempt to do. So you have to limit our issue or our problem and don't talk about it in general. Okay, so I have or you should have your own scope or your own assignment after determining the problem and handle the specific campaign. So what I'm going to achieve, whether to solve the whole problem or to change it or to change specific opinion. So scope the assignment, okay, description of the nature of the assignment, what the public relations program will attempt to do. مش هنحكي مرة ثانية عن المشكلة بشكل عام، احنا حكينا عليها وحللناها لقيتها مفروض يكون في عندي narrowed أو limiting for the issue، نحدد ال assignment. okay نحدد الكامبين اللي هنستخدمه و what I'm going to achieve after that, whether to solve the problem as a whole or a percentage of a problem or to change an opinion. Also, proposal include target audiences, specific targets identified and divided into manageable groups. Okay, you have to target audiences. After that, it also include research methods, specific research approach to be used. You can use different research methods such as a quantitative, qualitative, experimental methods, okay, about the problem in general. Key message, specific selected appeals. What do we wanna to tell our audience, and how do we wanna to tell do we wanna them to feel about us? So the output of our proposal is the key message. Okay, the messages or these messages should have signs, should have an appeals. It should be meaningful, simple, measurable, memorable, clear and understandable. Okay, and this statement should answer the following question: what do we want to tell our audience? Okay, and how do we want them to feel about us? Whether to support us, appreciate our effort, or they are still against us or as an opponent for us. Also, the proposal should include communication vehicles or the communication methods, tools which is used in order to transmit the messages, tactical communication devices to be used in order to deliver our message to the audience or to the public. We can use different communication devices such as mass media, phones, emails, TV, radios, and so on. Okay, so this vehicles or this communication devices supposed to match our audience habit. Okay, مثلا إذا إحنا بنتعامل على أو القضية تبعتنا الإيشو تبعنا أو البروبلم تبعنا عن الياث، فيفترض إنه إحنا نستخدم communication devices اللي معني فيها الشباب أو اللي بيستخدمها بشكل أكبر زي الماس ميديا. ما بنفع إنه نستخدم اللي هو الجرائد أو المجازين. Okay, project team, key players who will participate in the program. You have to assign your project team اللي هو حيساعد في اللي هو تنفيذ هذا البروجرام. After that you have to timing and fees, a timetable. You have to determine when to start and when to end your campaign. A timetable with the proposed costs identified. The second or the third phase بس يعني to remind you, this is the main components of any proposal. It should include situation analysis, scope of the assignment, research method, the key message, communication devices, and project team, timing and fees. But we're still talking about the campaigns, the components of the campaigns. حكينا عن background the problem, preparing the proposal, and the main components of a proposals. Now we wanted to implement the plan. The third stage of the campaign details operating tactics. It may contain a time chart specifying when each action will take place. في خطوة الimplementation أو execution of the plan يفترض أن يكون في عندي اللي هو tactics أو بنسميها operating أو operational tactics، وتكون عندي كمان فترة محددة لبدء وانتهاء كل خطوة منها. Specific activities are defined, people are assigned to them, and deadlines are established. This stage form the guts of the campaign plan. في أيضا خطوة implementation plan, you have to make your activities needed in order to solve the problem or the issue. People or to assign people for each of those activity to be implemented, a deadline when to start and when to end each of those activities. And this stage اللي هي implementation stage forms the guts of the campaign plans. تعتبر اللي هي الكور أو الجوهر اللي هو تبع الكامبين plans، لأنه الخطوات السابقة سهل إنه أضع proposal سهل إنه أحط الباك جراوند، لكن الامبلمنتيشن هي الخطوة الجوهرية. The fourth step اللي هي evaluating the campaign. To find out whether the plan worked, evaluation method should be spelled out here. And we wanted to answer this question. Did we implement the activities we proposed? Okay, احنا وضعنا activities، وضعنا لها deadline معين وحطينا assigning people to achieve it. فهلقيت السؤال حيبدأ في did we implement the activities we proposed? Did we receive appropriate public recognition for our efforts? Okay, صار في عنا أي تغيير. Did attitude change among the community, customers, management as a result of our program? فبالتالي what is your result؟ فهلقيت هنا عنا خطوة evaluation. You have to evaluate your performance, and also you have to see whether you achieving the needed results or the objectives which you set before or not. Note, finally, planning the public relations campaign is important. Planning must never become an end in itself. The fact is that no matter how important planning may be, public relation is still, again, it is assessed principally in terms of its action, performance, and practices. Again, as we said before, that it is very easy for any department or any person to make a plan. This is not the matter. Top level of management, they are concerned with action, with your performance, with your practices, and the results. I think that's enough for this lecture. Thank you for your listening, and good luck.